Carolina Panthers were one of the worst teams in football last year, and they have been for the past few years. Last year, they posted a 5-12 record, the worst run defense in the league, and a passing game that never clicked. But in 2025, I believe that this team can really start to turn the corner. No, not just because they added talent, but because for the first time in a long time, this team seems to have a clear identity. And at the center of it, a young quarterback I still believe in, and of course, a head coach in Dave Canales, who is exactly what I think Bryce Young needs to succeed. And let's look at their offseason. They didn't go on a very splurging spending spree. They made calculated, smart signings. Trevon Moehrig is a legit upgrade at safety. He's young, he's durable, he's physical, he had 104 total tackles last season, 2 picks, and 5 TFLs. Cornerback Michael Jackson re-signed as well, and he led the team in pass deflections last season with 17, and he had over 64 total tackles. And I'll be honest, I'm not very high on the Tershawn Wharton signing. $54 million is still a lot of money for just a rotational guy who's had only 13 career starts. I get what they were trying to do, add pass rush and upside and front 7 depth, but it felt like a little bit of an overpay. The signing I liked more was Bobby Brown III. He's 6'4", 330 pounds, and he's a true nose tackle built for a 3-4 defense like this one. And pairing him alongside defensive tackle Derek Brown, coming off an injury last season, will be crucial to make this run defense better than it was last season. Adding linebacker Christian Roseboom, who also had 135 tackles with the Rams last year, brings even more physicality and familiarity with defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero. The goal was clear: get younger, tougher, and fix this run defense. And in doing so, this front 7 got younger and more explosive. In the draft, they doubled down on this idea of bolstering the run defense. They took 2 edge rushers, Nick Scorton out of Texas A&M and Princely Umanmielen from Ole Miss. Scorton dropped almost 30 pounds this offseason, and he's down to 257. He says he feels quicker and stronger than ever, and he has legit 3-down potential. Umanmielen brings SEC toughness and a natural burst off the edge. And don't forget about Derek Brown and DJ Wanewam. These rookies don't need to start week 1, but they will be playing significant roles on this team. Roseboom and Josie Jewell in the middle also gives this defense a real punch. The front 7 is finally young, deep, and built for Avero's 3-4 scheme. And the secondary is finally feeling legit. J.C. Horn stayed healthy, he played in 15 games, and played like a top-tier corner he was supposed to be. He earned a $100 million extension, and it wasn't for nothing. Michael Jackson held up well on the other side, and he saw a ton of targets and still made plays. Trevon Moehrig starts at safety, and don't forget about 4th-round rookie Lathan Ransom, a 5-year starter at Ohio State. He's not blazing fast, but he's tough and reliable, and that's exactly what the Panthers lacked in the back end. Nick Scott stays for depth, and for once this isn't a patchwork secondary, it's a unit. And overall, I just believe in Bryce Young, and Dave Canales is the right guy to unlock his full potential. Bryce Young had one of the toughest and roughest rookie environments you could imagine for a first overall pick. He had a very bad offensive line, he had no consistent weapons, he had multiple play callers, multiple schemes, and constant pressure. But now, it feels like he finally has a system that makes sense for him. I really like Dave Canales as a head coach. He helped rebuild Geno Smith and helped Baker Mayfield as well in Tampa. And now he's here for multiple seasons with Bryce. He's a teacher, and he's not just a scheme guy. And for a quarterback like Bryce, who's smart and poised but needs structure, this is huge. And on top of all of this, the Panthers have given Bryce Young a core of players who will help him develop and really show his potential as the number 1 overall pick. Drafting Xavier Legette last season showed that they were willing to put assets forward to improving Bryce Young's situation and giving him a real shot at proving what he can be in the NFL. They drafted Legette, but he had some questions of being able to be a wide receiver 1, so they doubled down and drafted Tyroa McMillan in the draft this season at number 8. They also have guys like Tommy Tremble, who they brought back, Chuba Hubbard, who's been a great back in his young career, and Adam Thielen, who's kind of there to mentor all of these younger guys into the role that they need to play in Bryce Young's development. It isn't just all about talent, and it's about belief. They believe in Bryce, and so do I, especially with Canales building this offense and scheme around him with the right personnel. It feels like this Panthers offense finally has an identity. The O-line stayed intact, and that kind of continuity matters. The run game is 3-headed now: Chuba Hubbard, Rico Dowdle, and rookie Trevor Etienne. Etienne gives them the juice and return value, and the tight end room is deep. Tommy Tremble, Jatavion Sanders, and rookie Mitchell Evans, who is the best blocker of the group. This isn't a QB hero ball system anymore. This is a run-heavy, balanced, and structured, exactly what a young quarterback needs in his young career to prove the doubters wrong. And 2024 wasn't as hopeless as it looked. There were very bad spots in the year, no doubt, but it wasn't completely lifeless in every single game. Sure, they got blown out by teams like the Commanders and the Saints, which looked very bad early on in the season, but they also won some games late when they trusted in Bryce Young to make the throws and make the plays that he did. They beat the Saints, the Falcons, the Cardinals, and they almost beat the Buccaneers and the Chiefs, who were both in the playoffs, who both had great seasons, and even especially the Chiefs. The Chiefs looked very bad in that game, but Bryce Young made the plays that needed to be made to get his team into a winning position, and that's all that mattered. And with a team that had no real playoff potential, all you wanted to see was your star quarterback or hopeful star quarterback who was the number one overall pick being able to thrive in a system and actually get a worse roster of a team in a position to win the game. Chuba ran for over 1,000 yards, wide receiver Jalen Coker showed promise, and the offensive line cut Bryce's sack total in half from the previous season. It was a mess, but the foundation was starting to form, and we saw that late into the season. They've cleaned up the depth chart, filled key holes, and brought in young talent with real upside, and not to mention by next offseason, they have some real cap space to move around. But all in all, I'm not calling them a playoff team just yet. I think that the NFC South is getting stronger with the Buccaneers and even the Falcons starting to turn heads. Of course, we all know if you watch any NFL that the Saints are going to be in a very rough spot for the next few years, and I really think that this is the time that the Panthers can kind of take advantage of that. Of course, Baker Mayfield has looked great in his new outlook in Tampa Bay. He's looked like a very promising quarterback who can actually get Tampa Bay somewhere in the playoffs in the postseason and beat these really strong teams with his style of play. And, of course, the Falcons drafted Michael Penix. Everybody thought it was a horrible mistake, yada, yada, yada. Kirk Cousins played a horrible season. Michael Penix showed out at the end of the season. And now we're kind of in this limbo where we don't know what the Falcons are going to be. And I think that this is a really opportune time for the Panthers to snatch up that second seed in the NFC South. It's finally feeling that there's a plan in Carolina. There's young talent on defense, there's depth at key positions, and most importantly, Bryce Young's ability to grow is there. Regardless of who's calling plays, we've seen that he can thrive in a system where he's trusted and given the right amount of resources to perform. They might not be ready to win big yet, but the rebuild is finally moving in the right direction. So, all in all, let me know in the comments your thoughts, your win prediction for the Panthers in 2025. Do you believe in Bryce Young, or are you still skeptical? I think that the ceiling for this floor is maybe a little bit above 500, maybe 9-8. If we see Bryce Young kind of play the way he did during the end of the season, this is a team that can take advantage of some weaker opponents early on in the season. If not, if we still see him to have some of those, younger struggles that we do see with a lot of younger quarterbacks, I could see them going back to around 5-12. I think that is their absolute floor, is losing 12 games. The NFC South has gotten weaker just because the Saints are so much worse than they were last season. The Falcons are still an unknown, and the Buccaneers are susceptible to weaknesses. If you liked this video and made it this far, make sure you subscribe and like and comment your own opinions, and follow for more for deep dives coming every single week.